Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from me, your host Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Sight, Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to an exciting 1v1 on Angoville. Between the south, you got Joris fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland, taking on the role here of the 116th Panzer Division Windhund versus the north. You got Sturmtiger Giap fighting for America, freedom and democracy here with the 2nd Infantry Division, and he's got armor, infantry and airborne with double infantry ambulances. Joris with elite troops, assault support and lightning ward. Triple infantry there for him, double infantry and an ambulance there for Giap. Pioneers move eastward, MT-42 grenadiers start there for Joris, rather conservative stuff but also standard, and also sort of more stable and safe start in that sense. Double rifling for Giap. No funny business there with a lot of reassurance for him as he's pushing down the west side very hard. Interesting enough, the Germans going for the eastern side, and always on Angoville I generally tend to be very nervous about going eastwards as the starting point. But so far though, with Giap going hard west, that's going to work out to an extent as long as the OC doesn't begin pressing around here a lot and here, since those are two good points to begin attacking this position with. And of course mortars could make this even more successful for Giap. Moving in, there's current points, but while being laid down they dust a little bit how much territory Joris can grab initially, will allow him to fall behind Giap. On the other hand, of course, it does create a position that's going to be much harder for Giap to assault, and I imagine is what Joris is overall planning for here long term. More grenadiers on the way. This Giap just continues to gobble up the map here, with more rifling on the way for him. More grenadiers on the way there for Joris, who's moving in very aggressively. Not even grabbing the point. They could use the MG42. Might have been machine gun repositioning itself a bit incorrectly. That does happen occasionally. Sort of try to set it up, and then for some reason sets up right outside the arc of capturing for some reason. Or it might have been a redecision. Who knows? Grenadiers moving out there. More grenadiers moving in there for Joris. So again, he's going to be falling behind Giap here in the early game in terms of resources, but of course, if you can make a position where you can wear down Giap, that should sort of allow itself to slowly compensate. Though of course, that does require that Giap, of course, just mindlessly wears himself down against Joris' defenses. If he does not, Joris might be in for a bit of a rude awakening. Occupying tactical positions here in the house, Rafa caught out next cover, and there you go, quick volley there, quickly cuts down Joe, leaving him nothing but a lifeless puppet of meat and sinew. Rather than being pushed back here by the MG42, suppressed, pushed to the ground. More grenadiers on the way there for Joris, and a mortar here for Giap to sort of try and counter Joris' so far opening here. Not a bad idea. It's going to make it easier for him to support, and of course could open up for smoke screens to make it harder for Joris to defend, and particularly uses MG42. Shots fired, point there secured, Rafa moving ahead. And we got mortar almost done. Then we got reasons through the south. Up here, Rafa catching the grenadiers out in the open. And there you go, caught in a crossfire between the two houses. Rafa and they're finding where they want Garants. Grenadiers can't respond that efficiently since there's only two windows on each side. Grenadiers got heat joining. Rafa got they push back. Mortar around there for Giap. Grenadiers falling back as they're taking increasingly large amount of damage. Rafa and they're sneaking in. And oh, Joris in this case was too slow. The grenadiers now being caught again up close further, being pushed back. MG42 moving in, but that's going to put them within range of the mortar as it arrives. Then we got a grenadiers got moving up here the main road. Probably not anticipating there's a mortar here, but he's going to be able to take advantage of this and punish Giap there for doing a bit then its own. At the same time though, the MG42 is finding that the outhouse is not the best position to hide behind. And it's not just because it's only light cover, it stinks. Mortar then acting in a pretty bad position there for Giap. He's going to lose it, he's going to lose it. It's a negative cover, they're going to need to find way merrily, and there you go, focus down. Oh, no, he gets away with it. That is some pretty good luck there for Giap. That was some pretty good luck there. That was more or less two grenadier squads just firing away at that mortar crew, and they got away with only two members on negative cover. Does Joris have any take-up going on? No, in fact he's going for 4 grenadiers. Could indicate a tier 3 rush then, with that heavy tier 1 build here we're seeing from the Wehrmacht. As for Giap, he's going for the captain. He's going to aim there for a steward most likely. Will he use supervised though to rush things out? Who knows? Time will tell. We shall see if Giap can follow Dave's lead here or not. There's no charging into the grenadiers up here. Troops standing about. Troops are moving in as well. Captain out there for Giap. No weapon max of yet or any grenades. Troops being pushed back. Joris maintaining control. It's interesting to note here, Joris has yet to secure any of the victory points so far. He's not particularly caring about them. Obviously, this early into the game, it's not going to have a massive impact, but later on, though, it could prove a problem. So, I mean, at some point, Joris wants to, actually grab those victory points, in particular since he's controlling 2 of them, and Giap's only controlling 1. Then again, that might also be why he's taking so casually, because it's going to be a very, very slow trickle against him so far. And by grabbing them, he'd only, put a slow trickle against Giap. We're moving up there, realizing that Joris is focused on the 2 position by the close to Giap's base, meaning the rear lines of the car points are actually exposed. So Giap there for a bit of harassment up. It looks like Giap might overall try and put more pressure down here now as Joris is pushing in there, threatening his fuel. We can see that Joris is getting more aggressive versus Giap more bold. Brazen. Sneaky. In this case, he's bunching up their march formation, which is not uncommon to see, but of course makes them vulnerable if they get ambushed by an MD-42 here, as Joris successfully pulls off, suppressing almost the entire march unit there. Stewart on the way there for Giap. Rifle grenade off against the mortar. He gets away just in the nick of time. Double rifle grenade there. Joris definitely wants that mortar dead for, well, very obvious reasons. Mein Gott, Ludwig, I can't stand that Granatenwerfer. I want it tot. Stewart almost done there for Giap. That's going to put some pressure there on Joris, who actually did not go for tier 3 rush here, but actually is going for the like Mechanized Company. Taking perhaps more casual. Perhaps it might be the the captain here with the threat of a steward that is causing Joris to do this. Who knows? Though he could have theoretically gone for elite troops with light and stormtroopers with Panzerschrecks to stall the steward on sitting down up. In fact, he's going for a 2-2 here. Interesting choice there by Joris. Interesting choice. A couple of 2-2s can deal with the steward plus pressure any American infantry. So I mean, if he can, oh, never mind. He cancels it. Could have been a misclick or perhaps a change in plans there for Joris. Hard to say here exactly what he's thinking. But he's not actually being to secure victory points here. Das ist gut. He might want to use the field medic kits here on a field first aid on that Grenadier escort, because it's going to take only a few sneezes from the M1 Garand before that thing tumbles over dead. Herr Feldwebel, I can see mine kidneys. Can we please have some first aid? Nein, walk it off. Okay. Pack 40 arriving there for Joris. Pioneer standing about. Grabbing the other victory point there. Bunker up. That's likely going to be a medic bunker to help some of his, well, beleaguered grenadiers. Stewart hanging back here. Joris falling back to a defensive pattern for holding out against the Yankees. Troop shielding reinforcing here. Good attack centered around here could prove problematic for Joris to defend against, particularly since he's expecting it from here. He's really expecting it from here. I mean, he's not prepared for thorough assault there with the smoke and everything else going down there. So, I mean, if Giap were to launch it through here, he could really give Joris a headache. Also noting, neither player's yet to go for Doctrine here. There you go, Grenadiers retreating. Medic bunker ready. Grenadier on watch there behind an old tractor. There goes Stewart, a real line from the Pack 40. Does launch a frontal assault here against the fuel point, rather than trying to hit the car point, which has now been wired up again here by Joris. Overall, the assault is repulsed here by Joris, as well. It's a very narrow sort of frontage Joris has to attack into. It's also the more obvious pattern of attack is, since most players, if they lay down a lot of part way, it's not going to anticipate it. So had Giap put in a bit more effort, they could have thrown off Joris a bit there, but also just applied some serious pressure, hit the cuff point and forced him to attack into the house then. And we got an interesting choice from Giap in his infantry company, and he's going for the mortar half track. You do not see the mortar half track very often from the Americans, but he's also going for the Brown light machine gun. And hang on, cat break as the cat wants to get out. My apologies. There we go. cat has left the building. I repeat, the cat has left the building. Back to the match. Some mortar after there from Giap, the M21. In fact, I believe they actually had a half-trick with a bigger mortar mounted into it. I think it was around 100mm or something like that. There was also a particular round I believe was used by the Rangers of Italy, which had not just a mortar but an anti-tank and mounted in it, basically opening up for some very heavily equipped half-tracks that were used there. They were also rapidly lost, but I believe they're used by some of the Rangers down there in Italy. Fun little note there. Panzergrenadier, gefechtsbereit there for Joris on the 116th Panzerdivision Windhund. Rather than open up with a Brown light machine gun, air cooled. Pack 40 shoots, misses the Stuart there. Half-tech firing away, need to fall back there a bit. Really should put more pressure on this map. Oh, hit point. I mean, this is basically what Angoville is about. If your opponent is the southern air, if he holds this, you hit it hard repeatedly. But there you go, Grenadiers out here. The house was right from the light machine guns. Interesting to note here, Joris is not upgraded single Grenadier squad with a light machine gun. It's right here. Giap's infantry's definitely got the advantage versus Joris. There you go. Grenadiers could get wiped here by retreat by the light machine gun wielding Grenadiers. Oh, no. Oh, he got him. But MD4 is sitting up there. Eventually, two rifles need to retreat pretty rapidly here. Mortified continuing down. We got Pioneers Grenadiers occupying the house here. Flank here by the Panzer Grenadier, hitting the mortar before retreating. A hit and run move there by Joris. More Grenadiers to replace the ones lost in service of Das Vaterland. Captain moving hit on mortar recruit. Stood firing away there. Mortar after to far away there at the Germans, the Krauts. There you go, Pack 40 opening up there on the Stuart light tank, Captain with bazookas. In the south, though, we can see Joris also making progress there to denying Giap territory. And we got white phosphorus here on the house. Incendiary people against the half-track. And the Pack 40 finishes it off there. He did not anticipate Joris to use incendiary armor-piercing rounds on it. Sneaky there by Joris. Sneaky. Stuart being fixed up. So sadly that mortar after did not get to do a lot of work there for Giap before he got put up its misery. Though again he could have considered flank going in for and then getting behind Joris that way, also hitting some of his weaker support units. But that's too late now. Take up for Joris and the 1 and 16th Panzerdivision Minhund. Securing the fuel pond there as well, denying it to Giap, which they're of course forced to rush in. The captain and rifleman with their Browning light machine guns. Reasons have also been equipped there with a Browning light machine gun. And as everything collapses in the east here, Giap rolls ahead here like an eastern horde through the weakened defences of Rome. Grenadiers are being pushed back as Giap is pulling everything in to get back the fuel pond there as he pressures Joris in the east at the same time. Grenadiers fought here again without a light machine gun versus riflemen with veterancy and machine guns, which definitely means the Grenadiers there are in a situation they cannot maintain for long. Point there secured. And take up done. Can build a support of course soon. Joris has yet to choose a doctrine here versus Giap. Has yet to choose it. Got an M1 anti-tank out here for Giap as well. Versus Amish going for second one. He's definitely feeling there. Joris got the longer end of the tank stick, and he's prepared to try and break that stick until he can get out his own bigger Detroit stick. The authentic Detroit sticker, saying the stick is from Detroit. Panzer Grenadier moving ahead here, rifle standing about with light machine guns. Creeping up with a Stuart. Panzer Grenadier falling back here for Joris. Support McCord done, he can go for Stuart right away. Of course, might just save up for a Panzer IV. We shall see what Joris goes for here against Giap. Joris the remaining doctrineless versus Giap here. We'll continue to attack 40 against the fuel point. Again, there's a lack of pressure around here versus Joris, I feel. Personally, anyways. Giap we could consider taking up soon. We also got fighting positions being dug in here around both the coal point and the fuel point here. A sudden switch in resources and expenditure for Giap. Interesting choice there. Interesting choice. It's definitely not what you see very often. I mean, not the Americans are using, fighting positions at all, but more like he just suddenly spills two of them. It makes it harder for Joris to harassed, and it's going to force him to commit a larger force. Joris here, by the way, going for the Ostwind. Curious choice there versus Giap. I mean, it's not like he's far ahead of Giap in terms of fuel. So the overall timing of this seems a bit weak, in particular if Giap, you know, goes for tanks. So far, of course, only got double anti-tank guns. Rather than sneaking about. And before to expecting a flank assault, there you go, catch the rifleman. Those scored suppressed in a matter of moments there. Grenadiers have been cut to ribbons. We got relief from there, pouring out some Ostroms and enough here for Joris. And the 1 and 16th Panzer Division at Vinhund. Formed from the shattered remnants of the 16th Panzer Grenadier Division on the eastern front. And a reserve and training Panzer Battalion stationed somewhere, I think in Brittany or Bretagne, I can't quite remember the name of it. Though it mostly served as a coastal defense unit there. That basically was the nucleus there then of the 1 and 16th Panzer Division Vinhund. Fun little fact there. The 16th Panzer Grenadier Division by the way would later be reconstituted by a Panzer Brigade, I believe. They would perform well. I think that was the 1 and 7th actually, but then became the 16th Panzer Grenadier Division, having done well during Operation Market Garden. Pioneers wiped the hand retreat by the light machine gun wielding rifleman, and I believe even the captain has got one. Or was it just a bazooka? Bit hard to tell here. That looks like just a rifleman. Stuart anti-tank is supporting. Cancel the Osman there for Panzer IV instead. Probably the wiser choice here. Giap there, by the way, has finally checked up. He can use the cap bow to, you know, rush out a Sherman tank. We'll see if Giap does that, or that's only Dave that ever does that. Mortar fire there, and then you find 2 rifle fire, light machine gun fire there. And there you go. Joris retreats it rather than risk losing it. Even then, he might actually still lose. In fact, almost losing the veteran G3 hero MG42 there. And there's a high likelihood there. And light machine gun fire on the retreating unit. Quite a loss there for Joris and the 1 and 16th Panzer Division. We got Ostrom out though. A few escorts there of Hilsvilliger pulled out of the rear echelons to fight at the front line. MU42 that's stolen away by Giap. Rather than out in the open, pushing out for the fuel point there. Though of course his west side is a bit exposed than others. The Panzer IV, which could in theory hit the fighting positions. Giap can now go for Sherman tank. Of course he might think he wants Jackson instead. Panzer IV striking at the fighting position. Got the anti-tankers rolling in. Ostrom there being gunned down here by the point here. 50 caliber up in the Grenadiers, suppressing them. And defended the fighting position here by the cuff point. Joris in a sticky position. He's gone for, of course, lightning war here, which opens up for Tigers down the road. D43 for Grenadiers, who here still, by the way, yet to upgrade. Versus riflemen with Browning light machine guns. Definitely, I think, a bit of a strategic error. Though, of course, he might be planning something else with his munitions. But from my perspective, at least, it's not what I'd recommend. Back here, Grenadier, Panzer Grenadier moving out. Trying to clear out the fighting position here, this time with better light. Though we can see here that Giap is very intent on catching up that Panzer IV and ending it. There we go. Blocking his vision, so there you go, Grenadiers flanking in. And we got tactical movement here as he strikes out the flank of the anti-tankers there. Panzer IV taking a few more hits, but nothing too serious there. Most shots bounce off. And there you go, just further infantry assault here. Joris punishing Giap there for extending his anti-tank guns without any infantry screen at all there. Very good work. Panzer fast off. Pack 45 on the Stuart. Could wipe it out. Anti-tanker number 2 there. Up. Pathing error. And it goes down. Giap has right here lost both his anti-tank guns. Joris still has his Panzer IV. And he's just gunning down as much as he can. But there you go. Anti-tank recruit right in front of here. The Panzer IV. Anti-tank gun destroyed. Stuart abandoned. And for some reason there's some weird stuff going on with the anti-tank gun. So the Panzer IV was actually able to escape there rather than risk destruction. Quite lucky there for Joris. Unfortunate for Giap. An artillery strike called in of all places. Feels a bit desperate, like he was just, I don't know, trying to maybe destroy something. I'm not entirely sure there. Feels like a misclick. But I suppose there's that bit of light here that Stuart was abandoned within the premises of his base. At the same time, there's made pretty good progress on the eastern side there, which Joris has completely collapsed. Troops just pinned down here by the 50 caliber machine gun on the fighting position. Jackson on the way there for Giap to counter Joris's Panzer IV, and of course you can use the captain to supervise and just speed it out there, but so far looks like he's not. And Giap there's soon going to have more victory points, meaning he can bleed out Joris even faster. Ostrom here suppressed by the 5th cavalry, going down to the Pack 40 though. Jackson almost done. Ostrom there suffering horrific damage at the hands of the Yankees, desperately begging for help or salvation or just a retreat order.
Enemy forces are securing our territory. We have 300 points remaining.
Panzergrenadier attacking here, Raffen occupying the corner house here. But there you go, Geballte Ladung over the hedges and catches Giap there off. Oh, he actually dodged it right in the nick of time. That is bloody impressive. They're rather cutting it close. Jackson in there. Joris now striking around here again, infiltrating and trying to outmaneuver Giap. They catch him off guard in some nasty positions. Very nice work. And there you go, Raffen occupying the Grenadiers, or focusing on them, allowing the Panzers then to flank in from the south, getting closer to the Raffen in the first place, pushing them back to the light assault rifle. We've got another one coming from the house here with a light machine gun, cutting down Ludwig. And in the west, Ostrom there somehow pushing back the pilfered MD-42 here, going for the victory point, trying now to stall the bleed here that Giap's going on against him. And got a wipe then the rear echelons by the looks of it. A small victory there. No, actually he recruited with Stuart. So he got something else wiped, which looks to be the lieutenant maybe. Oh wait, hitting the cutoff point, hitting the victory point. Very good work there, though he also needs to hit that point. Oh, as the fuel point still gets connected through here. But it's a start, I suppose. And now Giap here making a big push down the west side. Joris following up with the Sturmgeschütz 3, Ausführung G. From nearby Stug Brigade attached to the Panzerdivision. The west is moving about. Pioneer State caught in a bad position. Well, thankfully they've been ordered not to shoot at infantry, which gives them a bit of time there. Raffen caught off guard by the Panzer IV, taking a nasty hit. Ostrom supporting. Can he wipe them out though? Can he finish off those Yankee Devils? Looks to be maybe, actually. That would certainly be helpful there too. There we go, got a wipe, and he got a light machine gun there if he can steal it before Giap denies it to him. The Ostrom are running for it, they're running for it. And there he goes, successfully steals a Browning light machine gun away there from Giap. That's a definite victory there for the fatherland. Got the Stu 3G moving in, hitting the car point there, hitting the fuel point as well. Getting it back for Deutschland. Backcat troops seemingly reinforcing. The Ostrom, of course, there with their Browning light machine gun. Panzer IV moving ahead. Oh, do you need to be careful there? He might risk getting hit with an anti-tank rifle grenade. And his Panzer was damaged an engine right in front of the Jacks. But there goes Stu moving ahead here. Gonna try and catch it. Shoots, gets a good hit. Panzer IV was almost on rifle, taking damage. And there goes Stu successfully pushes back the Jacks and the Rush, I would say, pretty close there for Joris. Grabbing support here, back here healing reinforcement going on. There we go, swinging through here the cut-off point. In this case, without sufficient support and infantry, meaning the Stuart there is actually quite isolated, and he might actually lose the rear echelons inside with the light machine gun. And there you go, Stuart goes down and it gets dropped. That's one thing to keep in mind. If you actually have them in a vehicle, anything with a weapon on them, there's a high likelihood, if actually a pretty good chance that they actually drop the weapon. So that was a bit unfortunate there for Giap. That could have been done better. Should have had some infantry supporting. Joris though continues to refuse to upgrade his grenadiers. But does not seem to be performing awfully, though of course at the same time his grenadiers are struggling versus the riflemen who are upgraded, since they just get so much more firepower out of it. Sherman on the way there for Giap. Could use the captain, of course, to supervise him out. Stug here, veteran G1. 1 kill for Deutschland. Panzer IV, 8 kills for Deutschland. And here we go, Giap slowly pushing it. No real bigger flank attempts here by Giap, to be honest. There you go, a second relief infantry attempt here. Joris once more calling upon the deep reserves of the re-echelons, the right frontline troops for the fatherland and its sacred defense. Got the Sherman rolling out, the Jacks moving in, machine gun moving about, awesome going there for the cough, watch Sherman shoots and decently hits, except not really, and got a 5th car being mounted on this roll. That's good, that is good. Joe's quickly moving in there to see off the Sherman. Encounters the issue instead. Now we got the Sherman being flanked by the Panther 4. Jackson could support though. There we go, shoots, gets a good hit there. Sherman firing high close around here as the infantry, leaving it more vulnerable to armor, in particular that Stuke here. But there you go. Sherman actually penetrates with a high explosive around the Stuke's frontal armor, forcing it back. That's some rubbish like there for Joris, for sure. Grenadiers getting pulverized by the high explosive rounds. Out in the open, in the rifleman with the light machine, of course, are also causing quite clashes. Grenadiers got wiped here. A bit of dramatic loss to be seeing a lot of Ostrom around there for Joris, and he's quickly swinging them westwards to that way, trying to open up a second front once more versus Giap, but this time with a lot more expendable infantry. Smoke going down here against him before troops from the Sherman. Good work. Also his first use of smoke. Also in this case, he was planning ahead. He was thought the machine gun would be down here. Instead, it was right in front of his victory point. So slight misjudgment there from Giap, but I like the effort at least. Not quite be on the Dave level yet, but you know, we can't all be a Dave right away. I mean, Dave wasn't made in one day, or was he? Anyways, Jack Snake about to get panterized if the gun is not careful. So will Joris be aiming for Tiger next? Tank up for Panthers, Sturmpanzers, or just more Panzer 4s and Stugs? Though right now it's got 5 Ostrom squads, which is an awful lot of population, meaning it's not going to be easy for him to actually get anything else. That's a bit the danger of getting too many Ostrom too fast. You risk blocking your pop cap that way with them, meaning you can't get anything else. If you then keep on reinforcing, you could end up in a very nasty manpower bleed spiral versus your opponent. But there you go, another Sherman way there for Giap and the 2nd Infantry, hitting the eastern point here with the re-echelons. So what will he do? Will he try and prepare for long term with Panthers and the likes there? Going to say it for Tiger, or what will Joris do here? What is his battle plan? Sherman shoots at the one Ostrom squad, hits the other one instead. I guess that counts as a hit though. A bit accidental. Yeah, we killed him! Yeah, but not the one you're aiming for, you idiot. Well, we killed something. Gonna just charging 40 Ostrom remaining reserve. Though they only got 1 pack 4 to really deal with all the armor that's flowing in. Then we got the Stug moving in. Oh, we also got some Grenadiers finally being upgraded here. Veteran 3 Grenadiers equipped with G43s. Also more. In fact, pretty much all of them now got upgraded with G43s. Very good. There you go, Sherman opening up the Grenadiers out in the open. Charging forwards into light machine gun fire. The results are not pretty for the German infantry. Sherman supporting his role here. There we go. Bombarding the Yankees with the fire. But there you go. Stug pack 40 opening out the Sherman. Taking it down to half health. Stug taking a return hit from the Jackson. Out west here we got Ostrom in, but they're getting absolutely brutally torn apart by rapid light machine gun fire here from the riflemen. And these start there, got a bit of pressure going on around versus Ostrom. Fuel pump being taken back. We got this Panzer 4 moving in there for Joris, close to Betsy 2. Stug, though, it's also close to Betsy 2 there for Joris and the 116. Here, Ostrom finding versus Rifleman. Definitely not standing much of a chance without cover bonus in the first place. 2nd pack 40 there for Joris. As Joris's veteran 2 Panzer 4 rolls through here the terrain. 2nd pack 40 slowly arrives, hitting the victory points here. Panzer's resolutions for successfully forcing them back. We got the Jacks moving in again, trying to hunt down that Panzer 4. Sherman's receiving repairs. There we go, penetrating hit there from the Jackson on the Panzer 4, straight for the frontal armor. Unit wiped here. Looks like another rifle squad or something else there for Giap. Bit of defensive posture here. German seeing an Ostrom out in the open, or in the house actually. Though that house is about to collapse, so it's not going to be the best place to remain in for long. But he's lost several Ostrom squads here. Though that of course does free up PopCap for other elements, so I imagine Joris is not going to be too, you know, broken over the thought of losing Ostrom. No trauma inflicted. As they're getting blasted by high explosives around. Ostrom heading westwards. Looks like Joris preparing for a big push against Giap here in the west. He's marshalling infantry, anti-tank guns, tanks, Stugs, everything he needs to try and break through. Got him there, go. We got tactical movement. He's proceeding a big push here with infantry, anti-tank guns, likes there. Oh, they are thinking. No, they don't actually get benefit from them, which is enough. I thought they did. I'm moving ahead there. Stug, Panther moving in. So basically, the infantry is the first wave here. Then he follows with the armor as the infantry disrupts here Giap's positions. An aggressive move. There we go. Pack 40s, Panther 4s moving in. Panther 4s staying at the side here alongside the Stug, and they're going to tank up the Shermans. Very nicely conducted assault here by him. You can see smoke being thrown down there by Giap. Now to try and disrupt it. It isn't quite successful nonetheless because Joris ultimately did what he wanted, which was he pushed Giap more or less off the western fields. So nicely done there, nicely done. But we can see the Giap setting up for counterattack already. But we can see Joris is falling back for now. Possibly anticipating a swift counterattack and realizing his infantry wasn't quite in the state to hold the line. And they go back to 2 in the Stug, but there you go. Oh, Stug's about to go down. The only thing it's holding together right now is hope. Oh, the Panther 4's also in a pretty bad state. Scheiße. Panther 4, Stug down. Pretty catastrophic here. Should have pulled it back a bit further there. And now instead, Giap, successful counterattack. Might have left Joris in a pretty bad position though. That does open up for the target now being marbled. The Grenadiers are being slaughtered in the meanwhile. Panther 4 also against the Shermans. Pack 40 is pursuing here, so he might be able to destroy the Shermans and sort of compensate for these losses, meaning once he then gets a Tiger out, he's going to be in a really strong position then. How quickly the tides turn. But there you go, got a flank going on. He's stealing the MG42 there away from Joris. Second MG42 stolen away actually. Both Shermans down though, both Shermans down, so both sides are now without tanks. Giap is clearly following up with the Sherman, and Joris is sometime away there from a Tiger tank because he keeps reinforcing his troops, which will delay the Tiger tank. Then at the same time, he's got so much into this concept bleeding up, he can't afford to sit back. But he's going for another Grenadier squad, having lost a squad. That's going to further delay a Tiger tank or any other armor. So that means Giap there's going to be more than one able to quickly get back into the game in terms of tanks. No, he counts with the Grenadiers, perhaps realizing he needs to get out some kind of armor here versus his opponent, particularly since he is bleeding out.
A capture point is under attack.
Sherman almost done there for Giap. Still not using the captain to supervise anything. The captain is busy at the front line.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
And there you go, another Sherman out for Giap. Stug on the way for Joris. Certainly seems like the Tiger plan is shelved for now. He goes right now, he probably can't afford to just sit about, wait for it. Which I think you see. Oh, we countered the Stug, so he's going to go for the Tiger anyways. Seems like Joris is getting a bit indecisive here, perhaps trying to figure out all of his options here versus Giap, as of course he's at the same time trying to not get pushed off the map entirely here by Giap, so that certainly can lead to, you know, quick changes like that. He's just sort of desperately trying to figure it out. But there you go, assault going up here again, but this time his first stone MG42 is quickly ruining his day. As now it seems like Joris, alright, he's not then fully committed to this Tiger, he's then aiming for the Panzer IV. Alright, we'll see if he then just doesn't end up cancelling that one and then aiming for a Tiger tank anyways. This is starting to get a bit confusing. And if he were to cancel the Panther on all of his reinforcements, he could probably get out a Tiger tank pretty fast, but looks like he is committed to the Panther IV then. Looks like he is committed for now. Giap making a rather supreme push out the west side here with the cat and rifle, machine guns and mortars, gobbling up victory points and fuel points and denying them to Joris, whose Panther IV there arrives finally for the fatherland in about Now it dries. There you go. Third time's the charm. So Joris here in a rather prickly situation versus Giap.
Enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Panzer IV moving ahead. Straight at the rifleman. And he's getting blasted there by the Sherman, the captain.
Show the Krauts are at 200 points.
200 points left here for Joris and the 116th Panzer Division. We got Ostrom charging forwards, not caring one jot about the casualties. They're just losing men left and right, dropping like sacks of flies. Pack 40's moving in there. Panzer IV falling back. Sherman moving ahead, maybe into the Pack 40s. Maybe he's not careful. In this case, seems like Joris is very quick to pull back his Pack 40s rather than risk them here versus the Shermans. Panzer Gun has been equipped with Panzer 6, which seems more vulnerable to the infantry, that of course helps versus the armour. But Joris' infantry losses are beginning to get pretty grim there. He's just down to 2 Ostrom squads, 2 Grenadiers, and a Panzer Grenadier squad. And again, that one's been, you know, made less efficient versus infantry with a Panzer Strike. So he's now going for the Tiger tank. He's going to stay up for another Panzer IV. Guess we find out soon enough. Guess we find out. As for Giap, we got the Jackson on the way. He has gone for a bit of mix. He's not used, I think, the rifle's ability to lay down mines or sandbags or anything like that. And nor has there been any priest, but he's made use of the artillery call-in, the light machine guns, and the mortar half-tracks. So not too bad uses there from both places. Sort of used roughly, you know, well, 3/5 of the doctrine. Jackson almost done. Panzer IV number 2 for Joris. He's definitely not just the touch about waiting for a Tiger. Definitely standing up from a lot of outplayers, but at this point would definitely be trying to play for a Tiger very hard. But Joris is just focused mostly on the Panzer IVs. You got 10 miles being laid down there to try and catch up any armour. Very good, but also importantly, he's not just trying to bash his head in there. He's sort of switching from side to side there, depending on how much resistance encountering on one side. That way, trying to catch Giap off guard at some point and maybe land some good wipes. Which is definitely what Joris needs right now versus Giap. He needs to wipe something. And right there, he can counter strength with Jackson there. Panzer IV taking quite a bit of nasty damage. Double Pack 4's opening up in the Sherman, taking it down to half health. Got smoke screens down there to cover up the retreat, but he didn't move it too far away enough and gets taken up in the Pack 40s. Bit of a error there by Giap, but one that Joris is more than willing to exploit and punish Giap for. So with this, Joris actually has the arm advantage. If he can push in his Panzer IVs and destroy the Jackson, that should really give him an edge here versus Giap. Maybe allow him to turn things around. Maybe. But there you go. Giap quickly crossing the artillery and the repairing Panzer IV, forcing everything away from here. And there we go. That was that tree. I heard that tree was planted by Hitler himself. In France? Yeah. Damn Hitler. Panzer IV, there was Rifleman pushing them back. Troops sending about, and there we go. Got Rifleman pushed back with the Panzer IV. Joris in aggressive pursuit, of course. He should theoretically worry about mines, but again, that does seem to be one of Giap's major lackings here. Again, he's not doing anything to, you know, dig in a bit more with his Rifleman there. So losing out on one of the, I think, Doctrine's strong points. He's going for another rifle squad here, so he's definitely going to go for one more light machine gun to further pressure Joris, and that's definitely not a bad idea. I mean, the light machine gun wielding riflemen are definitely a bit of a threat there for Joris. The G43 Grenadiers certainly help out a bit. Moving straight into the anti-tank, and eventually to Jackson also gets a good hit. That's likely going to be lost here with the Panzer IV. There you go. Got lucky. Got the anti-tank in there bouncing off. Jackson gets the Panzer IV though. Trying to get the Americanus of Panzerjäger there with Panzer 6. Takes it down to half over there with a rocket to the rear. But the Panzer gunners themselves are increasingly looking extended and need to fall back. Grenadiers being pushed back. Panzer IV moving ahead. And shoots at the rifleman, missing both scores there, despite being rather bunched up. Nice shot fired. Is he not playing for the target tank? He's just going to set up for another Panzer IV. Investing with the cannon. Looks like one squad actually managed to kill Brown Light Machine Gun away from Giap's men. That should help out the Grenadiers quite magnificent. Alongside those G43s, and there you go. Another tactical move here from Joris. Another headlong assault. He's making good use of that ability for sure. Quick rush here, we got the MD42 setting up. That's going to be able to halt all of the Ostrom in one devastating volley there. Oh, light machine gun drop there for the Grenadiers. In fact, being cut to ribbons there by the captain out in the open. He needs to retreat that squad before it gets wiped. And the Panther runs up, almost helping the captain there wipe the Grenadiers. So that did not work out there for Joris at all. And there you go, he's got the captain there with the light machine gun now, thanks to Joris' assault there. Not good, not good. And think it opening up, taking it a few notches down there.
Enemy forces have 100 points remaining.
100 points left for Joris, more Grenadiers. We might be regretting allowing Giap to get that early victory point lead now. Oh, S-mine's going off. Successfully holding the rifleman. Almost getting rifleman there. His Panther Force almost down as well to the Jackson. Pretty bad. LMG working rifleman, putting some serious pressure there on Joris as his men. Rifleman moving ahead, captain then marching forwards as well. Joris desperately trying to fix up his Panther IV, but it's certainly looking a bit rough there. Quick shot on rifleman, takes out a few. And a second Jackson out there for Giap. Second Jackson. Quick shot on the rifleman, taking a few, but there you go. Jackson flanking, getting the Panther IV, then knocking out its gun. Jackson with the damage in there from Panther Fast. We got another tactical movement there from Giap, but his pack forwards have been wiped. This is turning to be increasingly catastrophic here for Joris. And the 116th Panzer Division units try to hunt down that Jackson and destroy it. He's barely got anything else left. And it's certainly not victory points. He also keeps forgetting about those MD42s. They've definitely proven to be a rather big loss here for him. Gets the Jackson there. One to go. One to go.
A medium tank was just lost.
Should be able to get a second one, but he lacks any tanks to, for that to be really great. Plus, there's still the anti-tank guns, including a Pilford Pack 40. There we go. Jackson went down. Up north. Blown to bits. Small tactical victory there for Joris, but he's still in a bad position. Fixing up the Panther IV, going for an Ostwind now. Interesting choice there. Interesting choice there. Advance on season start with the mortar rifleman. Rifleman falling back. And back here the Panther IV is good to go once more for Germany. Deutschland. Rifleman caught by the Panther IV here. 12 kills. Pack 40s here. Ready to blow up any German tactical advance, and there you go, another tactical movement here. Though we've pushed back the machine gun here. They're all victory points and under control of Giap. He's down to 22 victory points, looking pretty rough there.
We're losing a capture point.
Pretty rough. 16. Panther IV swing for the west. Ostwind Grenadiers swinging in as well.
Final push. Germans have 10 points.
10 points left. He's using his Ostman pretty aggressively. He's trying to disrupt and catch some units and destroy them. It's getting pretty risky there. He has to manage all of this. There you go. Push back the units here. Doing some damage to the anti-tank because there's still another one around. And there you go. Lands a good hit on the Ostman. But wipes the mortar there. That's a small victory there for Giap and his infantry just because he wants. He's got the victory points there. Can he somehow turn around this Joris versus Giap? Is there somehow hope? Is there a small chance that somehow he can just deal enough damage here to Giap to somehow turn it around? I mean, he is playing pretty aggressive. He is swinging hard. He is catching some of his units there off guard and wiping them left and right. But he's still remaining otherwise so far behind Giap here. It's looking unlikely. But, I mean, it's not impossible, I guess. Almost got the anti-tank gun there. He's about to lose his Panzer IV there, and the Jackson's about to hit the field. There we go. Rife takes out the Panzer IV. Osprey for some reason just couldn't hit the goddamn anti-tank gun. And there you go, grabbing points here. And now this is Jackson on loose, and he's barely got anything to counter. Plus, of course, all of these highly veteran riflemen with Browning light machine guns. Boss being pulled back, Jackson moving ahead. And Panzer first off there. In the West Rifle being suppressed by the Austin being suppressed by the MD42 Veteran T3. Got the cat moving up there with 26 kills to his name. And this is pretty much looking like GG here for Joris. He tried, but ultimately just couldn't quite pull through here versus Giap. Pushing ahead here. There we go. Bleed is back, and as soon as this point renders neutral, that's pretty much all out because there's no one can grab him. There you go. Joris surrenders. GG, a loss here for the Wehrmacht. A victory for America, freedom, and democracy. A brutal engagement here on Angoville, displaying certainly the power of the infantry coming. More importantly, the Brown light machine guns. They were really, really strong. The mortar after sadly Giap didn't get too much out of, and certainly didn't do much with the doctrine. They didn't make use of it, so that's nice. They could have definitely made better use of the rifle defensive structures. Mortar can be utilised a bit better. The priest I didn't feel was too necessary here, so that's not much to say about there. But actually just aggressive use of his infantry flanking him, some smoke uses here and then, again nothing quite on Dave's level. Good usage of his armour, but really it was just the infantry footwork that's really strong through here versus Joris. In particular, since Joris went for a lot of infantry but never upgraded until much later. There's no light machine guns from it, trying hold back Giap. Had he done some MT42s and the Grenadiers, I think Joris would have stood a much better chance. Instead, he just fed them non-veteran Grenadiers, which long term was not the most successful strategies. That basically led to Joris getting bled out and making it hard for him to get tanks or maybe a Tiger, which could maybe help him down the road. Another option would have maybe had them theoretically taken for tier 4, though that's still not that great of an option. Meister would have more here and there, would have benefited Joris quite a bit, maybe some machine gun bunkers of his own, but definitely at times some bigger flanks there versus Giap and some more aggression. And a mortar with smoke screen could also done a lot there to help negate some of the Giap's advantage there with all the machine guns he stole from him, all the anti-tank guns he stole from Joris. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in a replay and provide some feedback in the comment section. And this is Imperial Linking. Cheers. Thank you for watching. And a big thanks to all my patron supporters, without which this episode would not have been possible. So thank you all, and see you all tomorrow for another stunning episode. Bye.